Hi everybody. Look, what's going on right now is seriously alarming. In my previous video I've shown about the troops, almost 50,000 NATO troops, largely American and other NATO allies, coming into Europe on the pretext of testing our bridges and what have you, to make sure that they're fit to hold heavy military equipment, including like army tanks. So they've already moved them into Europe now. That's happening now. But except everything's changed now, just as these troops have been positioned under the pretext of making sure that Europe's road infrastructures are capable of holding military vehicles. Now Donald Trump comes out and states that, you know, this is a war, and wants martial law rolled out across the world, not just in America but in Europe, everywhere. Okay, so suddenly the troops are in place to help impose martial law in Europe. American troops. It's very disturbing, very, very disturbing. And as I've already stated, and I will leave you all the links of everything that I'm saying here will be supported by links below. Check the links. Read the evidence for yourself. Don't just take my word for it. Okay? Now, the purpose of this video is to explain to people that if you really want to combat a virus, to which as yet we have no vaccine, and actually vaccines against viruses are never 100% or even 99%, because viruses aren't the same as other infectious diseases caused by bacteria. Okay, so if you want to protect yourself and your family, you will cut out sugar. You will cut out all sugar from your diet. You will stop eating sweets. You will stop putting sugar in your drinks. You will not replace that sugar with aspartame. Saccharin is preferable. Despite everything that's been said about saccharin, the fact is that saccharin was demonised precisely to bring aspartame into use, and aspartame is actually dangerous and bad for your health, and particularly our mental health. So please stop using everything with aspartame in it. If you're desperate for a bit of sweet flavour in your tea or coffee or what have you, then please use saccharin minimally. But you throw out all of your sugar. You stop eating sugar. You don't eat biscuits, cakes, and if you start coming down with a cold, any sign of a cold or flu, you cut out even fruit sugar, and certainly no honey. You see, these are the things that we need to do. Any sensible person who truly understands health would explain that to you. You do testing of the public if this virus is really that dangerous and deadly. Now, in a previous video, which I'll leave you the link to that, and again, all the links supporting the information in that video are shared underneath the video. So you check that out. 43,000 people, excess deaths in Britain in 2014 to 2015. That's from December 2014 to March 2015. There were 43,000 excess deaths due to flu and associated illnesses. 43,000 in 4 months. It was, I think, 43,900 altogether in 4 months. So you add it up. Imagine week by week, and the BBC's telling us, oh, another 2,500 have died. We haven't even had barely, well, I don't think we've even had 1,000 deaths yet. Which, you know, I am not negating you know, the upset, the disturbance that people are dying of flu, I don't want to negate those deaths of the people that have died, but when it comes to using those deaths as a pretext for imposing martial law on the public, then yes, we need to question. We need to put things in perspective, because where was the martial law in 2014 to 2015? Because children were getting the same flu viruses. We never received a breakdown of exactly how many of which age group died in 2014 to 15. Was it all elderly people? Did it include young people? Did it include children? Who's talking about it? Who discussed it? Who discussed why suddenly, from an average of, what was it, 17,000 deaths every winter season of flu and related illnesses, that suddenly on top of that there were another 43,000. So altogether then we're talking about what, 60,000 deaths over winter, because 17,000's average during the flu season, okay, that's average. So if you're getting 43,900 excess deaths, then that means that altogether there were 60,000 people died between 2014 and 2015 in those 4 months of winter, of the winter months and early spring. 60,000 people died. Now, they're saying that this has a death rate of, what is it, 2%, 3%? Oh, millions could end up dead. But do we have any proof, any evidence of that? Because we haven't reached 43,000 excess deaths. This has been around since November, at least in Britain. I know that for a fact, because I know that myself and other people came down with a very strange form of flu that left us with breathing difficulties, and even after it's gone, still left with breathing difficulties. One of my friends ended up in hospital with pneumonia, and he has he's on respirators. He has got asthma anyway. Eating any kind of sugar has the potential to reduce your body's defences by 75% or more for 4 to 6 hours. There you go. There you go. Your white blood cell. What happens is that your white blood cells absorb the sugar instead of vitamin C. And most people don't have anywhere near enough vitamin C in their diet. The white blood cells absorb sugar because it's a very similar chemical structure, and you're left with about 30 times vitamin C concentration when actually you need 50 times vitamin C concentration. But it's being replaced by the sugar, and therefore when your white blood cell absorbs the virus, instead of inhibiting it with the vitamin C, the sugar feeds it. So if the government really cared about the public's health, this would be one of the first things that they would be explaining to people. But sugar is earning how much money? It's one of the prime cash crops of this world, and it has been for what, a few hundred years now. Is it 500 years? It's been the main staple of cash crops and all the products that are made with it. The cakes, the biscuits, the chocolate, the drinks, you name it, sugar. Corn syrup in America is in virtually everything. Cut it out. Cut out everything with corn syrup in it for a start. Sugar, absolutely no. If you care about your health, you will do it. And if you don't, well, let's have martial law. Because, guns and tanks, bombs, bullets, soldiers, They're going to fight the virus for us, aren't they? How are they going to fight the virus? Oh, by keeping we the people locked up in our homes under house arrest. Because suddenly they're also concerned about our health, but they're not concerned about the impacts of austerity that murdered 200,000 people in Britain. That's 20,000 deaths a year just due to austerity. We need to get a grip and we need to be aware. Now, again, I'll share this again and again and again until people finally wake up, stop judging me. Oh, who's she? And da-da-da. Get with the information. Stop questioning the messenger. Look what the messenger is explaining to you. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Prove me a mad, crazy conspiracy theorist. You know, like they've been doing to everybody who's questioned 9/11. And they've been comparing this situation to 9/11, and all this is coming out just in the year that the architects and engineers have finally managed to get into court now with the evidence to prove conclusively that 9/11 was the result of pre-planned explosives. Those buildings came down with pre-planned, pre-wired explosives. The whole event was pre-planned and orchestrated, and we need to know who was behind it and what it was really all about. We need to start connecting the dots and calling a spade a spade. Because we've been bombarded with fake news. You know, now they got Boris Johnson, the liar, to say, oh, there's nothing to worry about. They got Donald Trump, the liar, to say, oh, there's nothing to worry about. Immediately the corporate media jump on, oh, there is something to worry about. Trump's lying again. Boris Johnson's lying again. These are the games they play. They set the liars up. Then when the liars tell you the truth, of course nobody believes them because they're a liar. But the fact is that this thing has been blown up out of all proportion. If you want to defend a population from viruses, you cut down the sugar. In fact, you cut it out completely. Because know that as soon as you have some sugar, you are 4 to 6 hours, your body is going to be at risk. You've set your whole immune system at risk. Okay? So, if you're going to eat sugar, then you better make sure that you're not around anybody for 4 to 6 hours, or you're in any place where you might pick up a virus. That is the way that people would have to do it. People who, you know, just can't get by through the day without eating a biscuit. Your soda pops, everything. So imagine what that will do to the market if everybody immediately cuts out sugar. Oh, no, no, no. They don't want that. And don't forget, sugar also dumbs down the population because it feeds candida, which actually dumbs down the intellect. You increase your vitamin C. You should be taking at least between 1,000 and 3,000 vitamin C a day through winter. And you need vitamin D3 as well. Because the two work in conjunction with each other. The D3 helps your body to absorb the vitamin C and vice versa. So these are the things that we need to be doing. Has the government put forward any of this? No, no, no. Big Pharma will address it all, won't they? With their extortionately priced, actually dangerous products, the vast majority of them. And, oh, they want to bring in forced vaccination. A vaccination developed by who? Zionist Israel. Well, I don't trust them as far as I could throw them, because they have no cares for human rights. Again, I will leave you the link to support this. But Israel has declared that it's above the law. They are at liberty to violate the law of sovereign nations, the sovereign law of every nation, and they're at liberty to ignore international law too. Okay? So are we going to trust any vaccination coming out of Zionist Israel? And they're going to what? force us all to have these vaccinations under point of a gun to protect us from a virus that thus far in Britain has not even killed a fraction of the people that died in 2014 to 2015. Apparently we can just dismiss 43,900 excess deaths as a glitch. And never mind that the same thing happened in 1999. In fact, I think there was even more excess deaths in the winter of 1999 to 2000. And a similar, it only went down slightly in 2000 to 2001 until finally there was a slump back to this average 17,000. And nobody really questions why about 17,000 people dying every year of flu. That's acceptable, apparently. So even with the regular deaths of flu and the related illnesses that cause the deaths as well, like pneumonia, respiratory problems, 17,000 in that 4 months between December and March. How many is that a week? You're talking 500 deaths a week. Well, we've not had 500 deaths a week of this, the coronavirus. And as I say, you want to protect your health, then the only way to do it is through cutting out sugar, increasing your vitamin C, getting plenty of exercise, fresh air, eating healthy food. And if you're going to cut out sugar, that does include things like white flour and products made with white flour. But it seems that, instead of, we're going to use a hammer to kill a fly, is the way that they're going about this. They're giving themselves powers on the strength of this, and we need to understand that this is part of a new world order agenda, and we cannot allow them to give themselves more power. I mean, America's talking about bending the rules for martial law. Well, I'm very sorry. People need to understand that martial law, the rules, the law is not there to be bent for the purposes of nefarious agendas that strip people of their rights. You can almost guarantee that Trump's going to cancel the 2020 election in America this year. We've witnessed this orchestrated attack against Sanders, as we witnessed against Jeremy Corbyn here in Britain. I am still absolutely disgusted with the Labour Party. They have let us down. They have let us down badly. They have no backbone. They have no courage. People like myself, who are very vulnerable in this world, of minimal power, I'm putting my life on the line here to make my videos, to share the information, to question the system, to put forward the actions. It's as much as we can do. Either people pick up on it, either people stand up for the rights, or you will be stripped of your rights to even have a right. You will have no right to protest. You will have no human rights. And once they've scrapped your human rights, that's it. Gloves are off. It's the rapists are free. It's rapist law. And that is exactly what this New World Order nonsense is thriving on. Unfortunately, they don't care. They don't believe they have a soul. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in Jesus. They don't believe in Allah. So that, all they believe in is their money and this single life, and they think that's it. Yes, they are in for a shock when their physical bodies die and they land in face of the universal intelligence and have to face all of their crimes and finally connect with their conscience. And no, they will not be able to progress into the higher quantum paradise, and they'll have to take the chances being born into the lottery that is life on earth. So, you know, and many of them condemned to the eternal void by their own actions, by their own ignorance. They was warned. We've been warned. Was Jesus lying? Was Buddha lying? Was Prophet Muhammad lying? Were all the prophets, Prophet Isaiah, was he lying? Either people accept the reality of our soul and how we can disconnect ourselves from our soul and lose the abundance of life after life after life in this universe. Because if you don't live by universal law, then you're not part of the universe, you know. I mean, nothing can survive that does not follow universal law. Everything that is created in this universe is attuned to universal law, and that applies directly to the way we as humans live on earth and our consciousness, how we operate. We are not operating within universal law. We are operating right outside of it, according to some crazy, antiquated fantasy of a load of dead men that the rich people of today are still continuing, because it just so happens that those dead men uphold all their self-given rights of elitism and their rights to judge us, their rights to use us like slaves. You see, all of these are crimes against humanity. And we're witnessing even more crimes against humanity. But as I say, you want to protect yourself and your family, you are truly concerned about Covid-19, please cut out the sugar. And please stand up for your rights. No matter which country you are in, put this into perspective, put it in balance. Because as I say, what's going on now is absolutely outrageous. It's an outrageous, disgusting, despicable response to a virus pandemic, and the amount of powers now that people like Donald Trump and Boris Johnson are giving themselves on the strength of it are very alarming and are a lot more deadly and dangerous than the virus itself.